So I want to start with the question of what you understood by artificial intelligence. You can share your perspectives in the comments. One of you can start sharing your perspective by unmuting yourself, please. I want the sessions to be more interactive. The question is, what you think artificial intelligence is? What is AI? Before we get into AIOps. Anyone wants to volunteer?
Maybe I'll be wrong, but I'll try to say what I understand.
Please. Doesn't matter. Even if you're wrong, that doesn't matter. You're learning as I said. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So we try to leverage from the existing knowledge in computers to pull out appropriate intelligence required for the situation. It could be making a decision or pulling out some information or, helping in some analysis. So put in algorithms and then, eventually they try to self-correct themselves. So maybe 80% accuracy, 86% accuracy, 90% accuracy algorithms, they try to bring the response to the question as closer to accuracy as possible, which may still not be equivalent to a human decision in some cases, but many cases it will be closest to it, or maybe even better.
Thank you, Ramesh. That was a good attempt. Anyone else wants to try?
Let me try.
Yeah, please.
Using the past examples, consolidating that, using the intelligence to get the results, whatever in the way we want. I think that is AI, that from my perspective.
Okay. So now artificial intelligence, some of the cases, right, in terms of the videos that you say, right, the latest examples, be it a news reader who is reading the news, assuming that you think that it's a human, but it is actually mimicking a news reader. Have you seen this? Starting from Sophia, a robot, to a news reader, which is doing. See the kind of advancement that's happened, right? So in our day-to-day life, day-to-day operations, if we want to bring AI, how much more advanced is this AI? That in itself is a good news for us, because way back 20 years back, this was not a latest advancement. So with that note, I want to also briefly talk about the exam pattern. Give me a minute, I'm trying to share my screen. Tell me if you're able to see my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah,
yes,
we are able to. Yeah.
So now, is it okay?
Yeah, it is visible to me.
Yeah. So first is, I'm sure you'll be interested to know not only the learning expectation, which you already said, which I've noted. So the first part is that we do have an examination, which is with PeopleCert. And if you look at the examination, it is all about testing the understanding of the concepts and principles of basic concepts, core technology, changes in organizational mindset, and also challenges and opportunities and key considerations. So it's a multiple choice question, 40 questions, 60 minutes, and pass percentage is 65%. And earlier it was accredited by DevOps. Now PeopleCert has taken over, and you will be getting a digital badge. Any doubts on this particular slide? We can definitely discuss more about it after the today's session. Tomorrow at the end of this, we will definitely discuss more about it. But right now, in this context, any doubts on this slide? No questions? Then move on to the next one. Okay. So I just want to look at the Bloom's taxonomy. Why is it important? Is because in this category of remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create, we are in the stage where AIOps Foundation is remembering and understanding stage. Now, what is the apply, analyze, evaluate, and create? So the create stage is an example of, let's say you are very keen on this AIOps, and for your organization, you create a methodology or a framework and a working model, a prototype, which can be patented. That's create. So evaluation is all about doing the prototype and evaluating the outcomes. So these layers, why it is kept as a 7-stage layer is because it is an indication that learning is a continuous journey. Now, even in people cert, even I spoke to Suresh and other experts in the industry, whether AIOps, are there any advanced intermediate courses? As on date, it's only foundation that they have released. But what at least I'm thinking is, along with the TaUB solutions partnership, collaboration, is that we want to look at AIOps intermediate and also encourage our participants to think beyond the regular traditional methods, innovation part of it, and to see how we can contribute to your organization, add value, and create some artifacts, some kind of solutions that you can proudly patent for your organization. That's just a thought process and a vision that at least we have for our participant. That's also our unique selling proposition. We want to encourage you with innovative ideas during the training. So we will look at it as we proceed through this training program. So this is pretty much our day 1 and day 2 agenda. Day 1, we have 4 modules. Module 1 is AIOps Foundation. Module 2 is AIOps in the organization. Then data is a core technology and machine learning is a core technology. This is day 1. Day 2 is AIOps and operational metrics. AIOps use cases, very interesting. This is where I was mentioning that we'll be using some of the Lean Six Sigma tools to combine identification of problem and problem solving and creating a model definition. Then evaluating AIOps impact and then implementing AIOps in the organization. This is pretty much the agenda that we have. Any questions so far? I want to interact. I'm just stopping the share. Any questions so far, please? Anything, any doubts you have? Or we are good to go? Okay, how do we agree with the break structure? I know we have 2 participants from Philippines. So now we started at 5 o'clock. Basically, if you look at the first break, is it okay that we have at 7 o'clock, the first break? And the second break, I'm talking about Indian Standard Time. Second break maybe at 9 o'clock for dinner for India. In Philippines, is it okay? 4 hours from the time of the training. Is it okay?
Yeah.
John and Benjo and other people, and then after that, do you need a break? We can think after you come from the 9 o'clock break, we can have a 30 minutes break at 9 o'clock. And if you want extra time, please do let me know. This can be our agreement in terms of break times. So any other doubts on what I already covered in terms of exam, the overview and others? Can I proceed with the next topic, the slides?
So what is the time frame for the exam? We complete the course and we take the exam immediately, or we have a few days time?
Yeah, see, the option is based on your convenience, Ramesh. So typically what I would advise is you can complete the course, take at least a week's time, typically instead of a busy schedule. But there are some people who did it in the next day also. Last batch, there was a public batch. Even last batch, I think some of them registered the day 2 or day 3 also. They scored 100 of 100. So some of them are like that. But for you, typically it can be a week or a 2 week, not more than a week or a 2 week. We should complete the exam. That's what I would suggest.
You mentioned about sorry, someone was saying something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's one attempt or we have another attempt for this exam?
Venkat, typically it is a single attempt expectation, but there is also an option to revisit the entire thing. But maybe I'm telling on a positive note, Venkat, if you pay close attention and practice the quiz and a sample examination paper is there, I don't think the possibility of failure is almost nil, because not because of my training, but because of the passion that the individual exhibited. At least I didn't see any failures last 2 batches. Last 2 batches, I remember, no failure. But answer to your question is yes, there is a possibility, but you have to pay additional fees for the second attempt.
Okay, got it.
Generally, I think we look at the first attempt itself is what I think as a participant you should be envisaging, and as a trainer I should be envisaging on a positive note, right?
Thank you. Yeah, good.
Thanks. Okay. Any other questions?
So you mentioned about the patent portion in your slide. So that's the Indian patent or the US patent, and how does that?
It is actually the patent belongs to IBM. It is a US patent. given by IBM, and I do receive a small royalty even now. Last year also, almost to 2019, I left IBM. Even last year, I got some small royalty amount for the patent.
Nice of that. Thanks. I was referring to, I think, in your subsequent slide while working with it, I think the last slide where you mentioned that, as an additional USP, there is some amount of, if we, in our learnings, we figure out some creativity that can be patented. Did I miss?
What I was telling is, if you are interested, because most of you are open text as an organization, if you are interested, I can also guide you through how to create innovative ideas and build a kind of a proof of concept. See, I'm not an expert in patenting, but I can tell you what ideas can be patented, because there are experts, attorneys who are there in IBM for me. They do a prior art search, and there's a lot of process around it. But I can help you to identify the ideas. And what I recommended is, as a team, you should be able to put your thoughts together and come up with 1 or 2 products which you can be proud of at the end of the session. For example, I want to look at, let's say I'm Ramesh. I want to look at this entire training in which I will have a unique framework which is customizable for open text, where I can create my own models and algorithms with my own AI ML based models, in which I can look at value creation for my customers, and I'll be able to celebrate this product as a unique product. So for that to happen, we need a lot of idea generation. I used to conduct, even now I'm conducting design thinking workshops. So that will help in envisioning a product and giving thought process a seed for a product. That was an additional effort I want to passionately contribute as part of this training, as part of idea generation, especially in the section called use case scenarios, where we can all put our brains together and see what kind of framework, what kind of product can be developed as part of this learning. That's what I was trying to say.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? So before I move, I will ask each one of you to read one slide. It's not that I want to make you read, but to ensure that when one person reads, the keywords gets registered in your mind as part of the AIOps. Are you all in agreement that I ask you to read? Are there any violent objections? No, Selvan, I'm very senior, or I don't want to read. Anybody has got a violent objection in this? Or you're all moving to childhood learning pattern where I can take the liberty to make you read? Okay, great.
I'm good.
Yep. Great. Thank you. Thanks for making me so comfortable. So I'll take the liberty. I'll also read myself in some slides, and I'll ask you to read some slides to reinforce and reinstate the learning. Okay. So let's move on. Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yes,
okay.
Selvan.
Let me just keep it here. You're comfortable now? Are you able to see this? Right? So what is the meaning of AIOps? So let me read the first slide. AIOps is a practice of applying artificial intelligence to IT operations. So artificial intelligence is applied in many areas. And what are the 2 main pillars of the application of AIOps? One is big data, another is machine learning. We are going to look at both big data and machine learning. Now, when we talk about this application, I want to ask a question. What are some of the practical applications of AI which you are aware of? Some examples which you can think of. Anyone who can answer?
Like chatbots that we get these days.
Very good. Chatbots are good examples where we have Copilot in Microsoft. So this is based on generative AI. We will be looking at these types of AI also as part of our curriculum. And also chatbots are based on something called large language models. Now that chatbot is a generative AI where it will try to answer your question. It could be a research related question. Now there are image building AIs like DALI. There are AIs which integrate with Microsoft even for preparing presentations, even for doing some Excel analysis, AI has penetrated. So there are so many applications. So for AIOps, it is a practice where the same concept of machine learning, artificial intelligence is applied to our IT operations. This is the definition of AI. So two concepts, one is big data and another is machine learning. And what it is, we will be working on it. So AIOps stands for AI for IT operations and not AI operations. So this is very important to understand. AI for many things in the world, right? AI for cyber security, AI for digital marketing, AI for advertising, AI for like chatting, right? Now we are not talking about AI operations, it's AI for IT operations. Okay. So again, this is coined by Gartner in the year 2016, and it leverages IT, it leverages ML and AI. So I want someone to read this part. AIOps is a practice. Can someone read volunteer for this?
AIOps, this is Venkat.
Yeah, sure.
AIOps as a practice is very related to the preceding ITOA. IT operations analytics is nothing but a fundamental difference between ITOA and AIOps is that ITOA leverages big data analytics alone, whereas AIOps is an evaluation of those practices that uses ML and AI.
Okay, thank you. So I want to share some practical experience which I had done for IT operation analytics. And as we move through, we'll be talking about many practical experiences. Only if I see many people are excited, I'll keep telling the stories. Otherwise, I'll cover what is restricted to AIOps. Only if I see many thumbs up or reactions, you can see the react button in your Zoom. You say that, yes, I'm interested, thumbs up or some signs. At least 50% of the team says, yes, go ahead and share your practical example. Then I'll give some examples for ITOA and then we look at it. Can I see how many people are interested? Very good. 3, 4, 5, 6. Benjo, are you interested for some practical cases?
Yep.
So great. At least 50% are saying that they're interested. Let me share my own example, right? So what did we see in this particular section is ITOA and AIOps. What is the difference? ITOA is IT operations analytics. So we had something called CDI, Client Delivery Insight, way back in 2015. This is a story of IBM I'm sharing, where we had deployed Watson. And what we used to do is we collect all the data. That time, data lake was not very familiar. So we collect all the data in one part and we collect the data to do the analysis. Now, what happens is it is an aftermath. Incident report is being taken, change failure report is taken. And we used to do the tools like correlation, regression. And we used to say, this is the outage avoidance model. This is the kind of outage that can happen. So what we used to do is we have multiple layers in the industry, right? We have the business layer, we have the application layer, we have the infrastructure layer, and we have the component layer. So the way I had recommended my team, again, it's one of the good use cases is, let's talk about client lifeline metrics. What is a client lifeline metric? I'll give an example from my own past experience. I'll not tell the name of the customer, but I'll tell you the type of the customer. Let's say my customer is a shipping company and it's a prime mover, which is very important. So the amount of the time the prime mover is not able to move will cause me demurrages, which means my prime mover somewhere in the middle of the cycle needs my application to be, let's say, 99.999% available. Then my server availability is important, all of this, right? So if I have to look at the change failure, I need to know what is the probability of an outage happening in a particular server or in a particular application. So this is the kind of IT operation. So we did have some models developed with the limited data that we had, at least to the tune of 60 to 70%. We improved using some of the regression models to the tune of 85%. That is a use case of IT operation analytics. Now, the problem with that use case is it was very reactive. It's an aftermath exercise. Now, what AIOps is teaching us is it is not going to be a model where the data is based on past history, but the expectation is that the data is real time and it has to proactively tell me even before I execute the change failure or even before I'm going to make some major changes. I have to know what can happen potentially. I have to get some recommendation engine which will recommend me what to do and what not to do. And based on my past problem management records, can I do some text analytics? Can I use some AI to proactively highlight this? So this is the predominant example between the ITOA, which is reactive, and AIOps, which is proactive. Are we clear on this example? Any doubts or questions on this use case? A simple use case, but any doubts?